This is video 9 of 12 covering the chapter by chapter review or the primary study guide for the final exam. This video covers chapter 20, budgeting, on pages 14 to 16 of the chapter by chapter review. So for this chapter, you want to know what a budget is. You want to be able to define it. It is a formal, officially communicated document throughout the organization that focuses on our future plans. If it was focusing on the past performance, that would be the financial statements, not the budget. And it involves it's stated in monetary terms. Know how to do cash budget calculations, cash collection calculations, and know how to do material purchases budget calculations. You will be given a formula for units to purchase, the current units needed for current sales, for current production, plus desired ending inventory of the materials, minus estimated beginning inventory. That should be given though. Okay, so a budget is a formal statement of a company's future plans. It is formal in that it is written, officially, broadly communicated throughout the organization. It focuses on the future. If it was focusing on the past, that would be the financial statements, not the budget. Okay. Blue Company has a preliminary cash balance of 13, a minimum cash balance of 20. Before any loan activity, they have a beginning loan balance of $50,000. What is their ending loan balance? So to calculate the ending loan balance, I need to be able to calculate whether there was any additional loan or any loan payment. So my preliminary balance of $13,000 is less than the minimum balance of $20,000. So do I have enough? I do not have enough money. I'm short. I need $20,000. I've only got $13,000. I'm short by $7,000. I don't have any extra money to make a loan payment, so I'm not making a loan payment, but I'm going to have to borrow $7,000 via an additional loan. So this is my loan activity. Given that I initially owed $50,000, I borrowed $7,000 more, so that would increase how much I owe. I paid $0. I now owe $57,000. After that loan activity, what would be the ending cash balance? So I initially had, before any loan activity, I had the preliminary balance of 13. I borrowed 7,000 more, which increased how much I had. I subtract $0. I made no payments. I have a $20,000 ending cash balance, which should equal the minimum if I still owe anything on that ending loan balance. And I do. So that is consistent with my expectations. Now, say that they had a preliminary cash balance of 32 and a minimum cash balance of 20,000. So I have more than enough. I have extra that I could use for a payment. How much extra? $12,000. How much do I owe? At the beginning, I owe $50,000. So I will make I don't need to borrow anymore, so borrow $0 more via an additional loan. I have $12,000 extra to make a payment, and I use all $12,000 to make a payment because I owe $50,000. I owe more than that. So my ending loan balance, I initially owed $50,000. I borrowed $0 more minus the $12,000 payment I made. I have an ending loan balance of $38,000. That's still over zero. I still owe money, so I would expect this to equal the minimum cash balance of $20,000. Let's see if that works. Before I borrowed anything, I had 32, or before I paid anything, I had 32. I took out $0 in additional loans, made a $12,000 payment, so subtract that. My ending cash balance is $20,000, which does indeed equal the minimum. Okay, for any given month, Blue has 30% cash sales that I collect immediately. So I get 30% of current month sales in cash in the current month and 70% in credit sales that I collect in full in the month after the sales. So in any given month, I would have 70% in the prior month sales. So if I collect it in the month after, say that I'm looking at January and February, if I collect the credit sales for January and February, if I'm looking at it from February's perspective, I collected that from the month before, from the month prior. Blue estimates the following total sales for these months in 2025. How much cash did they collect in cash during November? So I collect cash on cash sales and credit sales. Cash sales refer to the sales from the current month. Credit sales are based on sales from the prior month. I get 30% of the sales made in November in the month of November, so that's 20,000. I would get 70% of that 20,000 in the next month in December. October, I would have gotten 30% of that 30,000 in October, the other 70% of it in November. In December, I would get 30% of that 40,000 in December, the other 70% in the following month in January of the next year. calculate these totals. Get a cash amount, a credit amount for those. Six plus 21. 27,000 in November. 12 plus 14. 26,000 collected in December. ABC's current production, so I'm looking at the units of raw material that I will need to purchase. I will be given this formula here. I'm looking at what I need in February, so I want to know what I need for February, plus the head start on the next month. So a head start on March, minus what I already had at the beginning of February. So I project 4,000 units of raw material will be needed in February. That's what I need for February. 3,000 units are needed in March. It costs $5 per unit. Each month's ending raw materials inventory should equal 40% of the next month's budgeted materials. So I want to have 40% of that 3,000, 40% of March's units by the end of February. So 0.4 I want to have 1,200 units in desired ending inventory. 4,000 plus 1,200. I need 5,200 units of the materials. Do I need to purchase all those? No, I already have 1,600 units of that projected on February 1st. 5,200 units that I need minus the 1,600 units that I already have in beginning inventory. That is how many I need to purchase. I could have just done this like so. To purchase those 3,600 units, given that they are projected to cost $5 per unit, given that right there, should cost $18,000. Okay, that is the end of video 9. We will pick back up with video 10 at the top of page 16 in the chapter by chapter review.